afternoon and welcome to the Lyric Professors. I am Professor A, joined as ever by Professor Doggo behind me and below me, and on the other side of the world, Professor J. How are things on the other side of the world, Professor J?
Things are sunny over here, Professor A.
That must be nice.
Yes. I don't have a guitar chord this week. I do have a recommendation.
Really?
Today it is
Ah, those lads. Ernie Ball.
Ernie Balls. It's skinny top, heavy bottom. That's today's recommendation. Normally I'm a hybrid slinky.
Those are
kinda
the ones
guy.
I used to use.
Yes. For the Gretsch I need skinny top, heavy bottom because it's longer.
Oh, I
There we go.
see. Right. There's a reason for this, not just you like the name. Okay.
It's massive. It's so much bigger than every other guitar I've got. It's crazy. There we go.
That is crazy.
That's what's going on this side of the world.
Today, which I have labelled as episode 6 and may even be episode 6, I'm completely lost already. This is our first of our new schema of episodes. We're doing an episode where we each picked a song that we thought was worthy of discussion, but we didn't necessarily want to do an entire 3-part special on them, and they may or may not have a video, so there's just no other reason to talk about them, so we thought we'd just pick some songs and talk about them. So, what song have you picked today? It's a big mistake.
I think you should go first, Professor A.
Oh, well, I've done my notes the other way around, but okay. The song I have picked is by a man called Jackie Leven, who is sadly no longer with us, who wrote a song. He wrote lots of songs, but this song is called Another Man's Rain.
Yes. And how did you find out about Jackie Leven?
Like many others, I imagine. I came to him through the writings of Ian Rankin, what they call it, tartan noir crime writer,
Okay.
who has a series about a detective called John Rebus. And in it, in the series, Rebus is a fan of Jackie Leven. The one which particularly got me to listen to was a sort of comeback book. Rebus had been retired from the police force and suddenly he was back 10 years later, probably to do with failing sales of other books without him in it. And this comeback book was called Standing in Another Man's Grave, which was put down to the character, Rebus, mishearing the lyrics of the Jackie Leven song. And so I thought I would look it up, and I really like this song. I really like a lot of his other stuff as well.
Yeah. Should we dive into Jackie Leven then?
Yeah, sure. I've just got to move all my notes around because, as I said, I did it the other way around. There isn't a lot of information about him on the web, it has to be said. He was born in 1950 and died in 2011. He was a Scottish songwriter and folk musician. Started as a folk musician in the late 60s and then formed a new wave band called Doll by Doll. Do you know anything about them, Professor Joe?
Well, I'd never heard of them before, so I watched a few bits by them. So they were a rock band based in London. They were formed in 1977, and they kind of came up during New Wave.
Yes.
But they weren't right for New Wave. New Wave was kind of happy music, and theirs was kind of sadder, emotional music.
That was judged. New Wave was happy at all. But,
yeah. Well, it was judged out of step with the other bands of the time.
I mean, Joy Division
didn't really get the same.
New Wave, weren't they? Not overly known for being happy.
Is Joy Division New Wave?
I'd say so.
Okay.
Anyway, yes, I see what you mean.
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of Jackie Leven, so he grew up in Scotland, and he had a fairly tough upbringing. So his father was a Cockney from London, and his mother was a Romany Geordie, which, to have those two parents living in a small village in Scotland, he describes as an exotic combination at the time. which meant that his time at school was very tough. And then one day his father bought him a guitar, which he was quite surprised by because he thought his father would say no to his request of having a guitar. And that was kind of his escape,
Yeah.
from all that. He's got an interesting way of playing.
Yes, he has his own
He
tuning.
Yeah, because he was never taught, so he kind of made it up as he goes along, which is perfectly valid. And he plays pretty well from what I've seen.
Do you know the
Um,
tuning?
no,
It's E, G sharp, B, E, G sharp, B.
E G sharp B.
Yep.
E G twice the same three.
Yeah, so basically he
Three
plays
things.
three strings.
So E G sharp B. So it's an open E tuning. E G sharp B. So it's just fully open E.
Right.
E major.
Yeah. Made some good sounds with his guitar anyway.
Sure did.
Yes.
So he started his musical career in the late 60s under the pseudonym. Seems to have a lot of pseudonyms, doesn't he?
Did, yes.
John St. Field. And recorded one album, Control, in 1971, which was released only in Spain in 1973.
You've got to wonder how he wangled that.
Yeah,
From his
that's
little village in Scotland.
pretty wild. Yep. Then he was in Doll by Doll between 79 and 82. And they were sort of partying and driving up and down the country, but they weren't really making it big. So they disbanded in 1983, and he began a solo career. If you want to dip in at any time, you just let me know. Otherwise, I'll just
Okay, right. Well, I can read Wikipedia too. So yeah. Yes, then he. Let's go back to Wikipedia. He was assaulted in the street. Was nearly strangulated to death, and this led to him.
And in the documentary of him, he says that he was recording later to a recording studio near the Pentonville Road.
Yes.
So somewhere sort of near King's Cross area at the time. And he decided to walk home, and the people he was in the studio with said, "Don't be stupid. You shouldn't be walking home this late at night on your own." And he said that he was this sort of Scottish bravado. I forget exactly the word he said, but he decided to walk home anyway. And lo and behold, he got mugged.
Yes.
And yeah, it left him. He had some ribs broken, and they basically pretty much crushed his larynx, which left him unable to speak. But also, he said that he was unable to listen to other people speaking. It was intolerable for him to actually hear human voices for a couple of years.
Well, yeah, having been the victim of assault, I don't know about unable to listen to human voices, but it certainly makes being around people being very difficult. And especially bad, I guess, if you're a professional singer and you have your larynx damaged. It's not. Not
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. And to ease the pain, he got into the Big H.
American Horse.
Yes. So yeah, and then he eventually cured himself of his addiction with the help of his wife Carol through acupuncture and psychic healing, which led sort of tangentially into forming an association to help other heroin addicts get off the American Horse, and led to him meeting up with Princess Diana, who cured him of who got his voice back for him.
Oh, I haven't seen that bit.
Yeah, so he was, he was setting up this association, this trust to help heroin addicts, and then
the Core Trust.
Sorry,
the Core Trust.
Exactly. Yes, which has a holistic approach to the treatment of heroin addiction. And then at some point, Lady Diana, Princess Diana, wanted to be part of it. And then she met him, and she said to him, I hear you used to be a singer." And he retorted, "No, I am a singer." She said, "Go on then, sing something to me." No, and then so that was kind of what gave him the
Oh,
impetus to start singing again.
that's good. Yeah.
There we
And
go.
yes, then he was mentioned in the Ian Rankin books. I said, and he went on to record an album jointly with crime writer Ian Rankin, not a musician. So I believe it consisted of a spoken word short story from Ian Rankin and a few songs from Jackie.
Yeah.
And they toured it live for quite
Yeah.
a while. So yeah, interesting stuff. He died in 2011, as I said, of cancer, unfortunately, at the age of 61.
Yep.
And this song was from one of his later works. I should have the date here, shouldn't I? I really should. When was it? 2007, so 4 years before he died. From the album, Oh, What a Blow That Phantom Dealt Me. There's a name for an album.
That's a great name.
Yes, right.
Okay, should we dive into some lyrics?
Oh, you managed to find them then?
No, I listened. I
Oh,
listened
right.
to the link below. I transcribed them, so I'm looking forward to you correcting me as I go along.
Yes, go on then.
Okay. We out here on the ocean, 50 fathoms down, I hear voices to and from America in some kind of human chain. In some dark Atlantic, don't know,
Pain.
pain. Suddenly I'm 10,000 miles away, standing in another man's rain.
Standing in another man's rain. Standing in another man's
Another
rain.
man's rain.
Yes, I've got voices tuned in from America, but I don't know. So, did you listen? Which versions did you listen to? Did you listen to the studio version or just the live?
No, just the one that you sent. I didn't find another version.
Yeah, there is a studio version there, and it starts with lots of sort of weird electric noises and sort of things tuning into other things. So that's why I think it's tuned in from.
Makes sense. I mean,
Yeah, it's difficult. They literally are not available anywhere. I found one place which had these lyrics, and that was on a guitar chords site. So I can tell you that it's G, D sus2, C major seventh, all the way through that.
yeah, well, you can't work it out from watching his playing because
No, quite exactly.
he's got
Yeah.
weird tunings. So,
Way out here on the ocean, 50 fathoms down. A fathom is 6 feet, I believe.
yep, 1.83 meters.
Yeah, so that's quite a way down.
Originally, the span of a man's outstretched arms.
Surely that depends on the size of the man.
It does. Same as feet, right?
Of course. Yes.
Foot
Cubits,
was, yes.
which is from the thumb to the elbow.
Yeah.
Different for everyone. Yes. So I don't understand it. Way out here on the ocean, but he's not on the ocean, he's 50 fathom down. So is it saying that, this thing that's being tuned into is picked up by people in boats, people in submarines? I don't know. Some kind of human chain. It's just people connecting via music, I guess.
I don't think it's that. I think it's the telegram line.
Oh, let's see.
So it's the original phone line from the US
Right.
to where did that connect to?
So the Marconi one, that was in Cornwall.
Yeah, I think so. So they just ran a piece of cable.
Yeah.
Thousands of miles across the country. Originally for kind of telegrams, and then for phone lines. So I presume it's that.
Yeah.
50 fathoms down, which is 100 meters. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, voices to and from America, some kind of human chain.
Yeah. Some dark Atlantic pain, or obviously the path between the two countries would go across the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So what does standing in another man's rain actually mean then?
I'm not actually sure. I mean, he uses it to reference infidelity later in the song.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, he's saying he's standing in the man's rain. He's 10,000 miles away. 10,000 miles away from where? Is it possible to get 10,000 miles away from anyone on the Earth? I'm not actually sure.
I don't think it is.
No.
I think that's too big.
So he's sitting on the moon.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's raining. I think it's just being in a position that isn't meant for you. Perhaps it's meant for someone else.
Yeah.
As I said, the Ian Rankin um, interpretation of it was standing in another man's grave, which obviously wasn't written by Jackie L, but
Yeah.
that can be used as they were very close friends. I think it can be used as a sort of interpretation of what he meant, which was, I think, being in the wrong place at the wrong time for the wrong person.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. More lyrics. Every man has his flower, though he knows it or not. From the mighty old English rose to the humble forget-me-not.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's suggesting there's somebody out there for everyone, whether you know it or not. Um,
Yep.
which is absolute rubbish in my case, but who knows? The mighty old English
Yeah.
rose. What's mighty about the English rose?
I don't know.
Well, it was often used as an emblem for empire. You've got the white rose of York and red of Lancaster, or the other way around, which was the emblems during the Civil War. And yeah, I'm a humble
Forget-me-not is almost a weed, right?
Yes, pretty much. I think I don't know what its genus is. I'm not really into botany. Um, but yeah, he said it's humble. Mighty old English rose, I guess, is something that's revered. And also, English rose is used to describe a certain type of woman. I believe Princess Diana might have been described as an English rose, so that could be
Hmm.
a reference back to that. So,
Yeah.
or it could be a humble forget-me-not, someone who's not adored by everyone, and
Yeah.
it's
Do.
just, yeah, I guess that's what I'd say.
Yeah. Okay, more lyrics. I'm standing in a working class gay bar in Hamburg, drinking an ice cold beer, men quietly talking to each other. How did I get here?
Yeah, and I think he's. I think it's been acknowledged that his relationship with his first wife broke up largely because he was always touring around the world,
Yeah.
was never at home. I think it was Carol you mentioned. And yeah, I think he's saying, one day he's on the moon, one day he's in Hamburg,
Yeah.
having a nice cold beer. He's in a gay bar for some reason. I guess they like those in Hamburg. Um, and quietly talking to each other. How do I get here? You want to go into a gay bar for a nice cold beer if you're straight, which he was. Yeah.
Okay, more words. I look out the ancient window. It's Christmas time in the street. I see women shopping. Some are broken, some are chic. Some have got the North Sea pain from standing in another man's rain.
Yeah. So he's still in Hamburg, looking out the window. It's an ancient
Yeah.
window.
Yeah.
Is Hamburg particularly ancient? I think it probably is, isn't it? It's really old city stroke town.
It's older than the hamburger.
True, very true. Yes. Anyway, yes, it's Christmas time in the streets, so he's touring Germany during the Christmas season. He sees women shopping because that's what Johnny Woman does. Um, bit of a stereotype, obviously. I'm sure most of them are doing other things. Some are broken, some are chic. Well, I can't be that broken if they're shopping. Okay. Um, I guess he's saying that at Christmas everyone tries to buy presents and provide for their families, whether they're chic, rich and fashionable, or broken down and poor.
Yeah.
Some have got the North Sea pain. Goes back to his deep, dark Atlantic pain of earlier, equating.
I mean, it's cold.
Yeah,
The North
equating
Sea.
pain. I mean, I think the Atlantic and the North Sea are absolutely dismal. They really are, and they don't. When I think about them, I don't think of any sort of warmth or happiness at all. Whereas if I think of the Pacific Ocean, I think of lovely beaches. And
Yeah, but some people like that. So like the sea to the north of Germany, is that also the North Sea? Or the Baltics? Whichever one. But it's famous for the FKK, what's it? Freie Kulturkampf. So there's
Are you allowed to say this on YouTube?
yes, it just means people celebrating the beach and nudity and the wind and the sort of windswept beaches. Some people like that type of beach rather than a hot, overcrowded party beach. So, it may not be for you,
Beaches
but
I've been
maybe
to
for
in the
someone else.
Pacific, I had to myself. It's going to be a party beach, just a nice warm one.
Pacific.
Nice day.
Pacific, that's a big old ocean, that.
Yes, it's the biggest, I believe. Yes.
Okay. Right. Is there only one way to find out who's the biggest?
Let's measure them. Whatever. Yes. Anyway. So yes,
Okay.
but he is equating the seas with pain.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And they're in this pain because they've been standing in another man's rain, which might mean being unfaithful, which is what he's working up to with his lyrics.
Yeah.
Or it might mean again just being not quite in the right place for them.
Yeah. More words. I took a train from Oslo to Bergen in beautiful summer heat. At the top of the line, we stood by a glacier. I was tasting a private defeat.
Yes.
Then me and Frank got back on board. I drank some more French wine. We left the sun and snow and we float into Bergen.
I don't know. I've got thawed in a berg. Who knows?
Yeah. Wow.
But
He was
yeah,
standing in another man's rain. I mean, that's
yeah, and well, so obviously his tours now moved on from Hamburg. He's going from Oslo to Bergen.
Mhm.
Bit your own Norway. Bergen's Norway as well, isn't it? Is it not?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yes.
Bergen.
Not been to Norway, don't know. In beautiful summer heat. So this isn't the next day or whatever because it was Christmas before. He's now 6 months later, presumably 6ish.
Mhm.
And it's beautiful summer heat, and at the top of the line, I don't know, they stood by glaciers. They got off the train and stood by glacier, which is always fun. I've done it in Austria. Glaciers, good lads, them. I was tasting a private defeat. Does this refer to the subsequent verses? Or something else? We don't know.
Potentially.
Yeah, then him and Frank, no idea. Some bloke called Frank got back on board. So obviously this train lets you just sort of stop and have a look at the scenery every now and then, which is not
Hop
very
on, hop
train.
off.
Yeah, it's quite. He drank some more French wine. He was known for enjoying a drink. And then the next line, which is very poetic, but we don't actually know what it is. So there you go.
Yeah.
And he was in the wrong place.
Yeah.
For him.
Okay. All right. Someone I know once told me said that I should beware. Said my girl had secret clothes she wore when I was not there, and some of them were stained from standing in another man's rain. I think that's hinting at a different interpretation of another man's rain.
Yeah,
Got a
well,
bit.
as I said, he's talking about infidelity. I think we can leave it there. But I don't think that's what it's about for the whole song.
Okay.
So yes, someone he knew once told him, might be Frank, might not. Who knows? Said that he should be aware because he's when he's off on tour, his girl, wife, presumably, was getting dressed up and going out with another man.
Hmm. Okay, more lines. And when I asked her about it, she said, "You're the one to blame. You left me on my own, and I could not bear the pain."
No, it's not.
Nor,
You left me
right?
on my own, and I could not stand the shame, nor could I feel you again. And yes, I wore secret clothes, and I could not bear the pain. You left me standing in another man's rain, standing in another man's rain. So basically, she's saying, yeah, she's cheating on him, and it's all his fault because he's always off in Bergen or Hamburg or on the moon, drinking French wine and ice cold beers and admiring works of nature.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an awesome song. It's very
Hmm.
But it's just acoustic guitar and voice, and as I said on the studio version, there's some sort of electronic noises at the beginning. The
Right.
live version he plays with a chap called Michael Cosgrove, isn't it? I think he plays keyboards.
Yes.
There is a sort of a jangly piano bit, and there's a sort of horn bit as well, which is keyboard. Oh, hello. Camera's disconnecting and reconnecting. Good. Okay. So yes, that's Standing in Another Man's Rain. I would recommend that everyone listens to it. We will link the studio and the live versions below because we're absolute pros. We will probably not have linked them when this comes out. We'll probably forgot, but we will intend to link both. And listen to it, and listen to "Oh What a Blow That Phantom Dealt Me" and other albums, which are very good.
And on his sort of legacy album, selected by Ranking, which was called Straight Outta Caledonia, the first song is "The Sexual Loneliness of Jesus Christ," which I thought was a heck of a title.
Yeah, he's got a lot of fairly long and strange titles. I really admire a band with strange titles, I have to say.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else to say about this one?
Just we forgot to mention that he released a single with Glenn Matlock out of the Sex Pistols.
That's true.
1988, which was a single of the week in Melody Maker, and they called their band Concrete Bulletproof Invisible, which I think is great as well. Just pick through. I mean, you'll know that the Inspiral Carpets picked 2 words out of the dictionary to become their band name. I think they picked 3. So, yes, yeah. So, give it a listen. Enjoy it. It's a great song.
Okay. Right, now it's over to me. And I have selected the best song ever written. 100%. There is no better song than this. I have chosen MacArthur Park by Jimmy Webb.
Yes.
Undoubtedly the greatest song ever written.
It's not even the best song by Jimmy Webb, let's be clear about this.
I beg to differ. So who was Jimmy Webb?
He's a singy, songwritery chappie. And he wrote
Sure is.
lots of famous songs like Up, Up and Away and my particular pick for his best, which is a line there.
Yes.
Which we covered once.
Can you... Sometimes you're talking too quiet for me to hear.
I believe we're recording. I don't know. Carry on.
So yeah, Jimmy Webb, he has written some amazing songs. He won a Grammy Award for Song of the Year at the age of 21. He is one of America's most successful and honored songwriters and composers. He's had more than 1,000 songs been released. I mean, what's your thought on this song? What do you think is the definitive version of this song?
I'd say the live one with Richard Harris in front of a big orchestra where he decides to do a bit of a roll on the floor halfway through for no reason whatsoever.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, right. I think it's the one from which the image is taken.
Right, okay.
It's quite good, yeah. But I mean, obviously, it's been covered. They reckon 194 times at least.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So this was it was recorded first by Richard Harris singing it in 1968. So he was an actor who wanted to do a bit of singing. And there's something I need to say here, which is that all of the internet is wrong, and I am right.
Okay.
Well, according to interviews with both Richard Harris and Jimmy Webb, this song was not released. This song was a B-side. It was originally released as the B-side of the song called "Didn't We?"
I've got it written down. It was the other way around.
Exactly, and that's the way it's propagated on the internet. But listening to an interview, both Richard Harris and Jimmy Webb, this was a B-side, and it was a B-side of "Didn't We?", which was getting good chart success. And one of the DJs decided to play the B-side one time because it was doing so well. And bang, here we are. So
Right.
apparently the internet is wrong for the first time ever in
But
history.
it had to have been a single because it reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart and number 4 on the UK singles chart.
Well, according to Harris and Webb, it's wrong.
I don't see how something that wasn't released as a single could chart on the singles chart.
Yeah, indeed.
Took a lot of drugs, did Richard Harris. Just leave that there.
Yeah. And Jimmy Webb had some dalliances as well.
Yes.
Let's say.
Other versions, there was a Grammy-winning version by country music singer Waylon Jennings in 1970. And Donna Summer had a disco version, which reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1978.
And there's a full. If this song is not long enough for you, 8 minutes, the Donna Summer version is 17 minutes long.
Right.
And there's a whole new section in it, which we won't be covering with new words. But yeah, it really is. Yeah, I mean, everybody's done it. Tony Bennett, Weird Al Yankovic. I was fairly sure that William Shatner had done a version of it.
I think he has. Yeah, I reckon.
Well, I've been unable to find it.
I'll have a look. I'm sure I've heard it.
Yeah, well, I was unable. I was sure that there was a version, but I was unable to find it. I can almost hear him doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So from my research into, everybody's got their own favorite version of it. And I think it's the one that you hear first. So like you said, Waylon Jennings, that won a Grammy.
Yeah.
One by Donna Summer. There is also
there's a famous jazzist did it.
Several famous jazzists. Sammy Davis Jr. did it. Andy Williams has done it.
Four Tops.
Yeah, so it's been well done.
Frank did it. Yeah.
Anyway, let's dive into some lyrics and then.
Okay.
Unless you have, I mean, I've got plenty of other stuff.
Yeah, no, we'll get back to it. The one I was just thinking, the jazzist I was thinking of was Maynard Ferguson. 10-minute jazz instrumental.
Well, there's also others.
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay. All right. Spring was never waiting for us, girl. It ran one step ahead as we followed in the dance. Between the parted pages and were pressed in love's hot fevered iron like a striped pair of pants.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think this was the tendency for lyrics back then in that particular period. Is sort of everything had to be baroque and full of hidden meaning and highfalutin, pretentious stuff. I mean, I like the fact that he's talking about ironing a pair of trousers. What else can I say?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's brilliant. I mean, here he's talking about a relationship. He's talking about a girl, in love's hot fevered iron, and I just love the fact that it's not striped pair of pants; it's striped. I think the prose is excellent. I'm surprised that you don't like it more. I thought it would be right up your alley.
I do like it. I like it a lot. I just don't think it's the best song ever written.
Oh, it's undoubtedly the best song ever written. There are people who claim it's the worst song ever written. These people are wrong.
I don't see how that could possibly be the case. No.
Well, you have a look. You Google worst song ever written. It's up there.
Are we going to mention that this was written about a specific woman? This isn't just a random.
Let's do another verse first.
Okay.
I think that's important. So next verse, MacArthur's Park is melting in the dark, all that sweet green icing flowing down. Someone left the cake out in the rain. I don't think that I can take it because it took so long to bake it, and I'll never have that recipe again. Oh no. so a long time I was unable to find the actual interview that I heard this on about with Jimmy Webb, but I heard this a long time ago. And as you said, this is about an actual relationship with a lady called
Horton.
Susie Horton. Thank you very much. And they were both working together in Los Angeles, and at lunchtime they would go into MacArthur Park, which is a
Mm.
park in Los Angeles. And this is all things that they used to see when they're on their lunch break. For example, this sweet green icing flowing down the cake left out in the rain. That was what they saw. There was a cake that was
Mm.
left out in the park.
Would you like the quote?
Quote me, baby.
He was talking to the Los Angeles Times. This is Jimmy Webb. He said, MacArthur Park was where we met for lunch and paddleboat rides and feeding the ducks. She worked across the street at a life insurance company. Those lyrics were all very real to me. There was nothing psychedelic about it to me. The cake, it was an available object. It was what I saw in the park at the birthday parties. But people have very strong reactions to the song. There's been a lot of intellectual venom. So you're right. People do hate it. I mean,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Strange because there's a. I'm not sure who Susie Horton actually is because he says that she was working at an insurance company. A lot of people have said she was a member of the band The Comtessas.
I've not
I
seen
don't
it.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
And
maybe
also,
there's two different people with that name. I don't know.
I read somewhere that after they split up and this song got big, or it is the best song, he then went to find her a few years later and played her the song, and they got back together for a bit. Although I've
I
only
heard
seen
that.
that once, I don't think that is true at all. So I want
No,
to
no. What actually
stamp.
happened is she married Linda Ronstadt, famous singer's cousin, Bobby,
Ah.
and he was a lineman from Wichita. So
There
that's probably what inspired that as well.
we go. So yeah, so MacArthur Park itself is a park in the Westlake neighborhood of Los Angeles. It was named after General Douglas MacArthur, and originally it was a place of. It was like a what do you call it? A acidic lake, alkali lake. It
Oh,
was kind of a bit of a dumping ground.
right.
Um, this area was donated to the country from someone, and it was a dump. And finally, they made it into this very nice park with gardens and things. So I think it was originally donated in the 1880s, if I remember correctly. And it has a boating lake and nice running bit. Um, However, MacArthur Park is in one of the poorest areas of Los Angeles. Terrible crime rates, and it's considered to be MS-13 territory.
Oh,
You heard
dear.
of MS-13?
Numbers gang.
Yeah. But also interestingly, this park has been used for everything. It's been filming location. Do you want to hear the filming
Oh,
locations
love
it's
to.
been used?
Yes.
Yes. Well, 1921, Buster Keaton's Hard Luck. Charlie Chaplin, Woman of Paris, 1923. 1949 film noir, Killer Bait. 1973's The Phantom of Herald Square.
Gosh.
The Amazing Spider-Man was filmed here. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, when when Carlton goes to try and sell counterfeit merchandise in the park. Training Day was filmed there.
Oh, right.
Private Parts, Going Ape, Murphy's Law, The Hidden, A Patch of Blue, The Bigamist. So yeah. Oh, and Curb Your Enthusiasm as well. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I
So
think
yeah, so
we should also mention Richard Harris sang it as MacArthur's Park, and so
yeah,
most of the cover versions after that did the same thing. But when Jimmy Webb performed it live himself many years later, he said MacArthur Park.
yeah. In fact, Jimmy actually wrote it for a different group.
Yes.
He wrote it for a group whose
The
name is
Association.
Association, and they rejected it because it's over complex, right? So it's 8 minutes long with 3 different cantatas, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't just that. They didn't want to dive to what's the word I'm looking for? Devote that much percentage of their album to a song written by someone else. They said
Yeah, right.
it's too long for them, basically.
I see.
So, cake.
Okay,
A lot
more
of people have said
lyrics.
this is a drug reference as well, of course, but Jimmy Webb has always
Yeah,
refuted
yeah,
that.
but it's not, is it?
It might be.
Yes. Okay, I recall the yellow cotton dress foaming like a wave on the ground around your knees, the birds like tender babies in your hands, and the old man playing checkers by the trees. I mean, like you said, this is just his memories, right?
Yeah.
So she was there. She was wearing a yellow cotton dress.
She was holding
Little birds. Sorry.
She was holding birds in her hands.
Yeah. And the old man playing checkers. I notice in the Donna Summer version that she says the old man playing Chinese checkers.
Oh right, just completely different, isn't it?
It's amazingly different.
Yes. The I could also be suggesting with the birds like tender babies in your hands that he's seeing a future where he and Susie have babies.
Yeah. Indeed. Okay. And then we have another verse which is very similar to the original one. MacArthur Park is melting in the dark, all the sweet green icing flowing down. I read somewhere a mistranslation of sweet cream icing.
Mm.
But it's clearly green.
Mm.
And that kind of finishes the first piece. And then we
Yes.
get tempo change and we get the sort of very emotional bit. So let's go into this. There will be another song for me, for I will sing it. There will be another dream for me, someone will bring it. I will drink the wine while it is warm. Never let catch me looking at the sun. And after all the loves of my life, after all the loves of my life, you'll still be the one.
Mm. Basically, he's wavering between resolution and misery. He's resolving to never let this get him down at the start. Then he's saying, after all the loves of his life, she'll still be the one that got away. Yeah.
Confused, isn't he? He's saying there's going to be plenty of others, but you're still the one.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah. Yeah. So it carries on. I will take my life into my hands and I will use it. I will win the worship in their eyes and I will lose it. I will have the things that I desire, and my passion flows like rivers through the sky. After all the loves of my life, oh, after all the loves of my life, I'll be thinking of you, wondering why.
Yeah, same as the one before, basically. Slightly different.
Yeah. And then that's pretty much it. There's a repetition of the sweet green icing flowing down. So, why was Richard Harris wanting to sing?
Well, it's not like he hadn't sung before. He'd been performing Lerner and Lowe's Camelot for 8 years on the road before this.
Mm-hmm.
He'd released a single from that, which I think it charted. So he wasn't exactly a novice here. He also apparently bought the rights to Camelot from Lerner and Lowe, and he quoted at the time he got together with Jimmy Webb to record this that he'd made 65 million playing Camelot on the road. So that's a hell of a lot of money back then.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he wanted to do an album. He did 2, in fact, with Jimmy Webb. I don't know if he did any without Jimmy Webb. This first album with MacArthur Park on it was called something about a tramp, but I've forgotten.
It was called
A Tramp Shining. I don't know why it was called that.
Yes,
Yeah,
1968.
and they also did another album called The Yard Went On Forever.
In fact, Jimmy Webb didn't want Richard Harris to do this song. Richard Harris really wanted to do it, but Jimmy said, well, because he had it envisaged as these 3 cantatas of one song. So he thought about Richard Harris doing the middle section, the sort of emotional section, and having somebody else sing in the other pieces. But Richard Harris really liked it because he had great taste, and he insisted that he sing it. And he said, "Look, I'll record it, and if we don't like it, then find someone else. But I still want to record the whole thing." And also because Jimmy Webb thought that he wouldn't have quite have the range to sing it as well.
Well, he certainly does a good job on that live version I mentioned before.
I'll go and watch that.
Yeah, I'll try and send you a link to it because I'm sure there's plenty of live versions of them. He might not do a silly roll on the floor in all of them, so I'll try to find one first.
Have you heard the Waylon Jennings
I
version?
have not. No. Is it good?
It's good. I mean, I think he won a Grammy for it.
Yes, he did.
Mentioned that. And it's a very. I know the name Waylon Jennings, but I've never knowingly listened to anything by him. It's got a very gravelly voice. I mean, it's interesting that it was 1969 his version of this, so it wasn't like 20 years later. It was the next year.
That's the way it used to be, though, isn't it? I mean, the Beatles and the Stones used to cover things as soon as they came out with their very early careers.
Yeah, I guess so. So it's a great version, very gravelly, really tinged with a lot of emotion, very different from the way that Richard Harris sang it, which is very almost operatic at times, the way that he sings it. And while reading the comments on the Waylon Jennings, I saw this is the definitive version of the song. And I've seen that also on the Donna Summer version. I haven't seen that on the Weird Al Yankovic version.
Oh, I wonder why that would be.
Yeah.
Such a talent.
Jimmy Webb has won a lot of awards. He won this one won the 69 Grammy Award for the Best Arrangement Accompanying Vocalist. He won a Grammy for Up, Up and Away. He won the Oklahoma Baptist University Female Alpha Sinfonia honorary membership, the PTO chapter. Did you know that?
I don't know that.
So he's won Grammy for the Best Country Song, National Academy of Popular Music Songwriters Hall of Fame. He won an Ivor Novello Award.
Of course he did. Everyone.
Everyone does. I had a look back at his most recent list of songs to try and find a song that I recognize, and there wasn't any. He's been writing with a lot of. He's still publishing records, or there are still records coming out that have been written by him, but it's mainly singers from the 70s and 80s or older doing stuff. I mean, I think for me, I love this song. I love the changes in pace. I like the mysterious lyrics, even if he says that they're very straightforward. But you don't need to be tinged with meaning. You can just pick some words that leave some mystery to the ear of the beholder, right? I think that's
sure. Yeah, I think it's basically very early prog rock. So.
It is early prog rock. Yeah. That's a really good way to describe it, actually.
Yeah, it's a good song. Great song.
Yeah.
Not the best song in the world. Not the best.
It is undoubtedly the best song in the world.
Right, so do you have anything else to say on this song?
No. Oh, we need a word count. So
we didn't do it for another.
I got a reason for that.
We didn't do it for last episode, whatever that was. Arab Strap. We didn't do it for that. Oh, you want Sting, do you? Okay.
Yes.
It is time for Professor J's word count.
Want it for Abstrap? I can do it for Arab.
Yeah, sure, go on. In case you missed it, we did a video review of The Turning of Our Bones by Arab Strap in our previous episode. Now here's a word count.
That's 203 words. That's a lot of words.
Unique.
203 unique words.
Yes.
352 total words, which currently I haven't got everything listed here, but it's the second longest song and the most unique words.
Oh,
even though this is only a partial list I've got right in front of me.
impressive.
But yeah, for these ones, do you want to take a guess?
280 and 160. That's rubbish.
Yeah, pretty close. So they're both very similar. So Standing Another Man's Rain is 155 unique words out of 321. And MacArthur Park is 134 unique words out of 341. So
Just thought it would be the other way around, but yeah.
Yeah.
Impressive stuff.
Yeah.
Them some words, them are.
Them is some words.
Mm.
I think we're getting further and further away from Ben Folds' assumption that you needed 45 to 50 words.
Well, I think we're disproving it, which I always said would be the case. I do think my next choice will be much closer to that. That's not for a while.
I'm going to have to dedicate my search to finding songs with significantly less than Ben Folds suggested, just to bring the average down.
Oh, yes. No one you're going to at some point. Yes.
Hmm.
So, we are done with our first experimental episode, and we move on next week to our next 3-part extravaganza, which is Professor J's choice, and it is entirely up to him whether he wants to give you a teaser of who it is or
Don't have anything representative of it. No. We'll keep
so
teasing
wait
it.
and see then, won't you? Mystery keeps people coming back. All 6 of them. Yes. Anyway, so check out these 2 songs. You didn't have a quiz, did you?
No.
No, you didn't. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy these 2 songs when you listen to them. I hope you enjoyed our episode, and I apologise for Professor Dogger, who fell asleep instantly as soon as we mentioned MacArthur Park. She may or may not be dead. I'm not sure. So we will see you next week for an exciting 3-parter. Professor Dog will be poked with a stick to make sure she's awake. Professor Dogger, even not dog. Yeah, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.